Hey guys, welcome back to GeekJ, where we make tech, tutorials and gaming simpler and better. Today we're heading into the zone to answer S.T.A.L.K.E.R's question from our last video. Can we set up Optiscaler for S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 with DLSS FG, Reflex and Ultra+? Spoiler alert, yes, we can. So let's start by firing up the game in its vanilla state to see what we're working with. Okay, finally we're in the game, and this is what we get straight out of the box. In the graphics menu, let me go over here. First of all, display, you can see we are borderless full screen, so it follows the native resolution of my screen, which is 1080p. And I don't know, do we have any... Yeah, VSync is disabled and the frame rate has no limits. Basically, my screen is a 165 hertz display over here, so yeah. And as you can see, I think it defaults to TSR Ultra quality or something. It defaults to some weird upscaling quality, and then it also applies some resolution scaling. Even though you're on ultra quality, there is no native option over here. I think it's kind of weird. If you ask for my opinion, it's performance, balanced, quality, ultra quality, and then the resolution scale I think by default is like 58. So I don't understand it. Anyway, we're gonna go with the 100. This is the default options we get. As you can see, I have no sharpness, I have no motion blur, I have it on 0%. That's why I don't have any other option for the quality of the motion blur, because in most games I just hate it. And every other option I think we are running on the epic setting of it, as you can see over here. And we have the FSR 3.1. The frame generation of it, as you can see on the right part of the screen, allows increase the frame rate per second FPS. This is the FSR frame generation, and thankfully I think they have decoupled it from the upscaler you're using. So we have none, basically TAA, TSR, FSR and XeSS. And yeah. The default setting is TSR when you first fire up the game. So let's just load the last save game I created for this specific reason. It's in the very starting area of the game, after I think the initial sequence. So let's see what kind of performance are we getting with this. So as you can see, it looks kind of okay, but for some reason, even though we are averaging around 62, 64 FPS, I am recording with OBS, so it does take away a significant amount of performance. So usually I would see around 70 FPS on average, but yeah. It is what it is. You can see most of the stats over there for my graphics card. If I press on Alt+Shift+L, nothing happens. So that means anti-lag is not running. So that should be an indication of what kind of experience we're going to have if we enable frame generation on top of this. As you can see, we have no frame generation running, but even so, because of the temporal anti-aliasing solution, all these upscalers, they just use a version of temporal anti-aliasing, which is TAA, right? And it creates ghosting, as you can see over here. And if we take our knife out, it's a bit more prevalent. As you can see, this is the default experience. The game defaults to TSR, right? So let's try the other options. I'm gonna go into the graphics settings over here, and instead of TSR, let's go to TAA, and this is gonna be resolution scale 100. I'm gonna press F to apply the settings, and this is TAA. Something is attacking me. I think it's from that building. We're supposed to put the scanner up or something. So the ghosting is worse, and I think the clarity dropped significantly, especially for trees and stuff, and it's a bit more smudgy. I don't know how much of this is going to be visible through the YouTube video because of the compression it applies, but yeah, it is kind of smudgy. There is some kind of simmering, but yeah. Let's see, what other options do we have? The other options we have, I think, is none over here. So let's go with none. It looks kind of weird. A lot of the effects from the temporal upscaler, because it's not just an upscaler, TAA or TSR or whatever else. It's not just an anti-aliasing solution, it's an upscaler to its core. So as you can see, a lot of the effects are kind of broken, the depth is kind of broken and stuff like that if you don't use any kind of TAA or temporal solution or upscaler. As you can see over here, everything looks kind of weird and shimmery. So yeah, the ghosting is still there, so I don't know if they're doing some kind of I don't know, weird shenanigans under the hood, because as you can see, there's even a residual image and like a ghosting after image, and this is going to be even worse with other presets. I think the FSR preset they're using is not that horrible. So if we go over here, yeah, let's try FSR, and just to be fair, we're gonna go with native AA. So the resolution scaling is gonna be 100%. And as you can see, we lost a few frames over there from 67, 66 on average. We're now at 62, 64, depends where we're looking at. I think that the residual image is not that bad with the FSR solution. I don't know how it's going to look through the YouTube experience, but yeah. Still, we do get kind of a weird ghosting thingy over here, even though we have a no frame generation applied yet. And I think the worst looking one is XeSS, and it's a very old version of XeSS, so this is the reason. Even if we go to native AA, as it is called over here, still you can see we have a no frame generation applied over here. But as you can see, it is the most horrific one, unfortunately, and I think it's the 1.3 version. How do I know this? Because we're going to use the amazing DLSS Swapper open source tool, and you can see later what kind of versions are utilized in the game. But anyway, I digress. As you can see, yeah, very, very bad implementation of XeSS over here, and this is the latest update of the game. So this is what we get out of the box. This is the out of the box experience for S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 in regards to the options it is giving us in the game. So before we move on, let's go back to TAA and enable the built-in frame generation, and you will see our FPS is gonna go up. It feels a lot smoother when I turn the camera and stuff. The ghosting is worse than before, and it kind of feels sluggish. There is some added latency, unfortunately, and if I press Alt+Shift+L, you can see that we don't get the AMD built-in notification that we're using any kind of anti-lag. So we could try and enable it through the AMD menu, but it's just going to be the initial version of anti-lag, which is not making a huge difference. Actually, for me, it made no difference at all. The game feels smoother though, so I wouldn't think it feels bad. But if we were in any kind of a fight situation right now, that would give us, in my opinion, a disadvantage. But anyway, yeah, you can see over here in this specific scenario, we have added ghosting even with the TAA solution. I'm gonna go with options and then graphics again, and I'm gonna show you the TSR, ultra quality, 100 resolution scale, 100%, and we have the frame generation enabled. This is a bit better. So if I didn't have any other option, I would probably go with the TSR or the FSR solution of the game. But yeah, as you can see, it is still kind of weird. As you can see, when I move the camera kind of erratically, we have a lot of ghosting and after images. But TSR doesn't have a lot of simmering, if any at all. Let's go ahead and try, I believe the next one is FSR, the next in line. I'm gonna go again with native AA and with the FSR frame generation enabled. Let's see, yeah, now it has taken effect. We do have some ghosting as well. There is a bit more simmering with the default FSR in-game implementation over here, as you can see, but the ghosting, I believe, is a little bit better than the TSR implementation, so it really depends if you decide to go with what the game offers you. It's going to be a matter of what bothers you more, the after images and the ghosting, or the simmering that gets introduced with the FSR implementation. And if we go with the XeSS version, it's a pretty bad experience. Foreshadowing, as you can see over here. Yep, so we get that white kind of glowing thing around objects when we move. I don't know why XeSS does that. Let me see. Does it enable any kind of sharpening or something? Sharpness is at 0. We are on XeSS, native AA, and FSR frame generation is enabled. Let me exit out of that. Yeah, so I don't know what they did, but it's looking the worst, as you can see over here. Very, very bad implementation. It's a very old implementation of XeSS. I think it's the 1.3 version of it, and it's very, very weird. So yeah, this is the default experience. Unfortunately, the game also crashes in its vanilla state. We just crashed. I don't know if I'm gonna show that part of the video here. While I was showcasing the vanilla options of the game, the vanilla upscaling options. So we're gonna log back in, and we're gonna set the upscaling method to none because I want to be more safe than sorry. And a lot of times when we install Optiscaler and we have some kind of upscaler selected, when we try to load the game, it's going to immediately crash. So just to be on the safe side, I would suggest going to your game before you start tweaking anything. Set your game upscaling into none, save your settings, and then exit out of the game, and then we will start tweaking. Okay, we're gonna go into options, graphics, and what we need to do. As you can see over here, because we crashed, it is still set to XeSS. I'm gonna go with none, press F to apply, and we're gonna quit out of the game, and that's pretty much it. So it's time to level up. First up, DLSS Swapper. And I gotta tell you, this open source gem from GitHub updates your upscaler binaries to the latest versions. So let's do it. So I've showcased this tool multiple times in the past, but we're gonna keep showing it. It's such a wonderful tool. to use if you're a gamer. As you can see, we are at the GitHub of DLSS Swapper. As always, we're going to go over here to the right side where it says +35 releases. We're going to click that, and then we are going to go into the assets. This is a pre-release for people to try out the new translation toolbox feature. But anyway, you can just download the latest version over here, and you can try the installer or the portable version of it. I usually go for the portable. After you download it, you're gonna run this little beauty. We're gonna find our game over here, click on it, and as you can see, it's gonna show you where the game is installed, and then you can see the binaries it is currently using. And DLSS, pretty old version, 3.7. FSR also pretty old. I think this is the 3.12 or 3.11 version. XSS, extremely old. It's 1.3, as I told you before. So what do? We click over here. We go to the latest DLSS version, and this is going to make sense because when we're using Optiscaler, as I've explained before, there's multiple videos in my channel where we use Optiscaler. What Optiscaler does is it unlocks DLSS DLL files, and basically it injects through that DLL file any upscaler we want. And the beauty of that is we can even utilize the inputs of DLSS, which are a lot of times better than the FSR or XeSS counterparts. And this gives us the opportunity to have better results in our upscaling, even when we are using different upscalers than DLSS. So we're going to go with the 310.3. We're going to swap this. I'm going to do the same for the frame generation part of it. We're going to do the same for the FSR. So the in-game FSR implementation is the 3.13. We're going to go with 3.14, and we're going to swap that. And for XeSS from the 1.3, we're going to go with a 2.0141, which is a far better implementation in my opinion. We're going to close out of this. I'm going to refresh once, and then I'm going to check if everything is updated, and the answer is yes. And we're just going to exit out of this. This part is done. And boom, just like that, fresh binaries, less ghosting, just by utilizing the newer versions. Links to everything are in the description below. Next up, we're going to go into Nexus mods because we need to grab the DLSS G2FSR3 from this amazing guy called Nukem. So we're going to click on the files section over here. And as always, we're going to download the first file over here. We're not going to mess with the DLSS Tweaks edition or the Universal edition. And we're going to click on manual download. So after we've downloaded this latest version, what do? So we need to extract the .dll. So we need to navigate into our installation folder. You can do that by right-clicking on your game on Steam and selecting Browse Local Files, or do something similar on the Game Pass version of the game. And then we're going to go into the S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 folder, binaries, Win64, and as you can see over here, we have multiple DLLs. We're gonna grab disable NVIDIA signature checks reg files, the DLSS to FSR 3 AMD is better.dll, and the restore NVIDIA signature check.reg files. And after selecting all three of these, we're gonna drag and drop them into our main game folder where the real exe is located, and exit out of our archive extractor. Then we're heading back to GitHub for FakeNVAPI, the latest version. If you want to watch my previous video about FakeNVAPI, you can find it up here, I believe, and we explain why this is a pretty substantial update. So if you have an older version, I would suggest you get the latest version. And as always, as you can see, we are at the FakeNVAPI GitHub page, we're gonna click on this +13 releases, and this is the 1.3.2 version, and we're gonna download this FakeNVAPI.zip file. Now that we've downloaded this, we're gonna make sure we double click on the 1.3.2 version of it, and now we're just gonna select all the contents of that zip file, and we're gonna drag and drop them into the same location, main installation folder, with the real .exe, the actual .exe of our game. Exit out of your archiver. Basically, this unlocks Reflex, basically gives us the option to use Anti-Lag 2 or Anti-Lag Plus, depending if you're using DirectX or Vulkan, respectively. So now, Optiscaler. As you can see again, we are on GitHub. So we're gonna go again to the right side over here to the +17 releases option. Gonna click on that, then scroll down, and we're gonna download the Optiscaler latest version as of now, which is the pre-9 Daria, as you can see over here. So double click on it, and as you can see, we have multiple folders and files in here. Again, we're gonna navigate into the same spot, and what I usually do is I grab the Optiscaler setup.bat file, the Optiscaler.dll, and the Optiscaler.ini, and I just drag and drop them into our main installation folder over here. Exit out of this one. So what do we do now? We're gonna run the Optiscaler setup.bat file. And as you can see, we have multiple options here. As always, we're gonna go with the safest choices for this game. I'm gonna go with option number 1, which will rename this to dxgi.dll. So press 1 and press enter. It's asking if we're using NVIDIA or AMD Intel. I'm using AMD Intel, so I'm gonna press 1. If you're on NVIDIA, please press 2. And then this is going to be an option only if you select the first option on the previous one, if you're on Intel AMD. So it's asking if I'm going to try to use DLSS inputs, enable spoofing and all that good stuff. We're going to say yes. So that's 1 again, and press enter. And it says enjoy. So press enter to continue. And as you can see, it has renamed the files and created the nvngx.dll. So the only thing we're gonna do here is open up the optiscaler.ini, and we have multiple options, but as you can see over here, we're only interested in the FrameGen category. We're gonna delete the auto, and we will type in Nukems and press enter, and then we're gonna save. And that's the only change we're gonna make. So if you're on an AMD, Intel, or an older NVIDIA GPU, you have to run the disable signature override.reg file. So we're gonna do that. Probably because of the Windows account control, you're gonna see a black screen, but you're gonna get a prompt that's asking you, do you really want to change that registry value? You're going to say yes, and then you're going to say yes again, as you can see on my screen right now. And then you're going to press OK. That's it for this step. So let's run the game with the DLSS to FSR3, FakeNVAPI, and Optiscaler. And let's check out the settings. We're still on the Epic settings. The only thing that is changed is we have DLSS. NVIDIA DLAA is enabled. The DLSS frame generation is on. I'm gonna turn it off for now. Let's see what else we got here. Okay, I'm gonna save that. Let's go to display. And as you can see, same settings as before. And VSync is disabled. And NVIDIA Reflex low latency is also disabled for now. So let's load our game from the exact same spot. Performance is very, very similar to before. 50 something, 57, 60 FPS. Let me go over here and check how things look. So if we hit the insert button, you can see over here the settings we're using in Optiscaler. I think initially it defaults to XeSS, and we do have access to what kind of XeSS model is going to be used. I think the default is the KPSS, so let me close out of that one. This is how it looks, and we're using the 2041, I think, which is the latest version, but we still got this kind of ghosting and glow, a white glow around this every object basically on the screen, kind of stuttery. I do like going with the Model 6. It does look a little bit better. We still get the white glow around the objects, but it's not that prominent, or I think it's still looking kind of bad. Anyway, my preferred settings are the FSR 3, 314, and I unchecked the use FSR input values, so now it is using basically the DLSS input values, and yeah, the ghosting is a lot better. Latency is okay, but let's go ahead and enable frame generation further up over here. I'm gonna save, and once we do that, if we go to the display settings, you're gonna see that Reflex is now by default enabled and we cannot disable it. So let's go in game, see what happens now, and everything is a lot smoother. As you can see, we're close to 100 FPS on average, very close to the performance we were getting before, and the latency is not bad. It feels a lot smoother. So if I do press Alt+Shift+L, you'll see we get that little white rectangle on the top left of my screen, and if I keep pressing Alt+Shift+L, you will see we get all the metrics there, and this means that Anti-lag 2 is working, and we get pretty decent performance. And what we're gonna do right after this little walk around this place to check out the performance, we're gonna install Ultra+, so we get the better visuals and the fixes and all that good stuff that Ultra+ offers. So let's go ahead and do that.
Time to plant this scanner and get out of here.
And we're almost to the end, guys, trust me. Finally, this is Ultra+, and we're gonna download the Ultra+ mod manager instead of the standalone Ultra+ mod for each and every game we're gonna use from now on. So this is gonna be pretty simple. Just go to your files and manually download the Ultra+ mod manager. And after you install this, I have a video you can find over here on installing and utilizing this amazing tool by the Ultra+ team. If you want to support them, just join their Discord and start a conversation. They're really gonna appreciate anything you do. Just give them a follow basically and your feedback, and I'm pretty sure they're going to be very, very grateful if you just do that. Of course, you can donate to them and all that good stuff if you want to support their work, but you're going to see after we run Ultra+ mod manager the immense amount of work they've put into this tool and how many games they're supporting. So after you have installed the Ultra+ mod manager, if you run your shortcut, you will see basically this little screen over here every time you run the Ultra+ mod manager. And you can see you can select the theme, and then you have the ability to pick a game to manage. So we are interested in the S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2. Anyway, let's go with load config. And as you can see here, we have an update which means we don't have the Ultra+ installed at all. As you can see over here, we can just press OK. We, as you can see, failed to detect Ultra+ installation, navigate to install mods, blah, blah, blah. So what we can do over here, just click on this red font, and it will prompt us to install Ultra+ or any of the other mods over here. And it says regular, branch, and sometimes they have beta branches as well. We're gonna click on update. Selected update has been downloaded and is ready to be installed in Ultra+ Mod Manager. Click OK. Are you sure you wish to apply the specified update? Yes. Would you like to preserve your settings file? Let's say yes. Would you like to include UE4SS as part of the installation process? Most of the times, for a lot of the games, just click yes here, because UE4SS is utilized by Ultra+, I think, for some of the effects to actually be enabled in the game. But also, I have to say that for some Bethesda games like the new Oblivion Remaster, I do not install it. So for most of the games I say yes, but for the games that I install UE4SS manually, because I'm using Mod Organizer 2, I press no. But I think for 99% of the cases, you're just gonna say yes. Update has been applied successfully. We're gonna click OK, and you can go into the installed mods over here. So any other mod they have created, you can click on the red lettering over here or on the little icon over here and click install, and it will download and install it. If you wanted S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 FSR 3 FG, if you want to have this implementation of the frame generation, but we're basically going to use only the Ultra+ as we installed our own version of frame generation. So let's go to settings over here. Obviously, we can select a preset. Let's go with the Epic preset. Has been applied successfully. Cool. And then we have a lot of different options to select over here. Better reflection SDFs, and if we hover our mouse over, there's a lot of helpful text over here. Bloom, chromatic aberration, I hate it with a passion, so I turn off, just like motion blur. I leave it at game because in game I have this disabled, but also you can do off. I'm gonna do off. Reflex, we're gonna leave it on the game option, and vignette, I'm gonna go with off. So we can save these settings. We can leave this running in the background, and we're gonna finally run the game and see what the results are. Again, keep in mind, I am recording, so the FPS is significantly lower than what it will be. Ghosting is not exactly eliminated, but it's improved. So Anti-Lag 2 running, the game is running smoothly. We don't have the 100 FPS experience, we have like 70 something FPS right now. If I wasn't recording, I would be hovering around 80 right now. And the frame generation latency would be a little bit better. But yeah, this is a very, very good experience. And there you have it. S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2K, your S.T.A.L.K.E.R 2 is now rocking Optiscaler, DLSS frame generation, in quotes, Reflex, in quotes, and Ultra+. If this helped, smash that like button, guys. Subscribe, click on that bell to never miss another GeekJ video ever again, and drop a comment with your results. I'm pretty interested to see how your game looks and performs after this. I'm also planning a live stream pretty soon. I cannot yet give you a date, but keep an eye on this other social media going over here under my face with a lot of smoke. So follow me there, and I will probably multi-stream to Twitch and YouTube. Keep your ear on the ground. I'm gonna update you probably through a post here or a video on when the live stream is gonna be. Stay geeky, and I'll catch you in the next one, guys. Bye-bye. Bye. Bye.